Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and as per usual, we're going to start this episode off the same way we start every episode off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million things with your time, and the fact that you spend it with us truly does mean the world to me, so thank you. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
How's she cutting me, loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
Okay, and we're back. I'm really excited about today's guest because it's a complete stranger. So we're going to meet a new person today, which, you know, that's my favorite thing to do. And this individual has come to talk about animals, and well, that's one of Tanner's favorite things to talk about other from Hot Wheels. So I know he's excited about today's episode.
I'm a simple man.
There you go. On that note, as you also are aware, I don't introduce my guests because they can do a better job of that than myself. So on that note, sir, can you please tell everybody at home who you are and what you're about?
Yeah, I'm Chuck Brandsgard. I'm the executive director for the Fort McMurray SPCA.
Okay, very cool. Now, Chuck, how long have you been in that role for?
A little under 6 months now.
Okay, so brand new to it?
Brand spanking new, yeah.
So how did you find yourself in this world? Is this a passion that you had before, or like what industry
A little
did you
bit
come
passionate
from?
I had before, but honestly, I really wanted to do something like my son was born 2 years ago, so he's 2 now, and I wanted to do something to show my kids, all of my kids, that being compassionate and helping out the community is actually just as important, if not more so, than earning the almighty dollar. So
Right. Okay, good. So it's a learning lesson for the family too.
absolutely.
That's great. So prior to getting involved in this, what industry did you find yourself working in?
I was with Diversified Transportation. I was a continuous improvement manager.
Okay.
And that's what I did. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. So this is your first forte into the non-for-profit sector.
Absolutely. Yes.
Interesting. How are you finding that transition?
It's a totally different transition. Absolutely. It's totally different. And yeah, it's a new learning for me for sure. And there's lots of learning. Luckily, I have a lot of good people that help me out. So
Nice. So we talked about this before because we talked literally for 3 minutes before we started filming. My perception of the SPCA was that it's one of those charities, and we're going to use huge air quotes, like the sexy charities.
Yeah.
And you enlightened me on a point where I never really thought about it never thought about it before. And can you please elaborate on like the people component of what you said? Because I thought that was fascinating.
yeah, absolutely. So in the 6 months that I've been there, I've noticed that actually the most of the grants and most of the people donations and so on and so forth are going to people first, which makes sense because people first. I understand that. So it goes to your food banks, your shelters, and anything to help people. And then next on the line is the animals. So unless you're really passionate about animals,
Right.
And there are a lot of people that are really passionate about those animals, but that's usually the way it works. Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those charities where me as a non-pet person, I kind of forget about the SPCA. Other for my child, I gotta say, we come and we donate because he likes to come and read to the cats.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm terrible. I don't like cats. I don't like cats. I'm sorry, everybody at home. I'm not a cat person. They keep me on edge. Like I just can't relax around them. And my kid loves cats.
Yeah.
And so we bring him to the SPCA and he reads and he plays with them and he loves it. But it's not my first go-to thought, and you nailed it. If you're not a pet person, you kind of forget about it.
Absolutely.
Although I have like nothing but empathy and I want to help, it's not in the forefront of my mind. So I think that's a really good message to get out there. It's just like, hey, even if you're not a pet person, you got these animals down there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's not just about the animals though, because this is what a lot of people forget is helping the animals actually helps out a lot of communities. So, for example, our rural communities,
Right.
We actually help a lot of animals in our rural communities as well as Fort McMurray. So,
Okay.
when we're intaking some of these animals or donations for foods, for example, we donated I think it was over 26,000 pounds of food last year to rural community animals.
Oh, wow.
That really needed the help. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Now, the one thing I do know about SPCA is like you guys do some cool little drives every once in a while to raise money. I know back in the day there used to be like a bike
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
And like you come fix up your bike. But I always really admired the innovation of the different things that they have put on and collecting rags and stuff. So can you talk to me a little bit about what you guys are doing to raise money and awareness for
Yeah,
SPCA?
absolutely. So we actually had to change things up this year a little bit because of COVID.
Yeah.
COVID's kind of changed up everything. We used to have our big events, masquerade balls, so on and so forth, and that used to bring in a lot of our donations. but we had to change things up big time this year. So I'm just going to grab this real
Yeah,
quick.
please, yeah.
Yeah. So this year we got a sponsorship package, which has the events calendar and so on and so forth. And that we have Locked in the Kennel. So we're going to be doing Locked in the Kennel, very similar to what the United Way just put on.
Okay.
But we're going to do it in the kennels
Okay.
at the SPCA. And we're going to do Pedals for Paws. So that's your bike, that the bike one that you were talking about, where we
Right.
fix up the bikes and then sell them off. And then we're also going to do a garage sale as well that day, and like kind of a family barbecue as well. So it's
Okay.
kind of a pancake breakfast sort of deal.
Cool.
And then we're going to do a cook-off at the Superstore.
Nice. What's
So
the cook-off about?
So it's going to be like a competition between 10 competitors, 10 chefs or 10 teams.
Yeah.
And they get to run into the Superstore, grab about $100 worth of groceries, come back out, do a chili and bannock cook-off.
Nice.
And then all those will go towards a shelter or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that certain Mac City host would be interested in judging that.
That's right. Just throwing it out there.
Absolutely. We're looking
Throw it
for
out there.
judges. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there
Okay,
too. So
cool.
wonderful.
Hey, well.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
It's
then
like we're eating some chili, Tanner.
That's what I'm
absolutely
here for. That
Yeah.
chili and bannock.
There you go. Can't beat it.
And then we've got Dogs Days of Summer in June, which is going to be another one. So that's going to be basically like a run.
Okay.
But you get to bring your animals, and we'll make sure that they are properly tagged, so you know which ones are good people, good with other animals, so
Right.
everybody's safe.
Okay.
And then we also have a wellness vaccine clinics where we go out to rural areas. So like last year we went out to Fort McMurray.
Yeah.
And we did one of our wellness clinics, and we vaccinated and microchipped over 20 cats and over 30 dogs.
Okay.
This year we want to do more. We want to head out to Fort Chip, John, as many places we possibly can to help with the vaccines and the microchipping.
That's a big thing, eh? Like as a non-pet owner, when I talk to my friends who own pets, like once again, something that a non-pet owner takes for granted is like the vaccination and keeping these animals healthy. Like it's like a human being. You got to go in. You need to take care of yourself. You need these things. You can catch a cold, diseases, illnesses, just like I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can spread to other animals and so on and so forth in
Yeah.
the region. So there's a lot more to it.
Right.
And then, for instance, a lot of the animals in rural areas or farming areas or whatever are actually left to roam because that's just what they are. They're work animals for the
Right.
most part, right? So it's actually great when we can vaccinate and microchip them, and then that way that we know who the owner is, we know, and we can get them back to the owner and get them back and safe and
Right.
Yeah, it's a wonderful program.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this still takes place. I thought it was cool back in the day, but because of COVID, I don't know. I used to have a lot of friends who used to go and walk dogs. Are you still able to come and pick up?
Yeah, absolutely.
From
We
the
still
SPCA
walk
and
dogs. Right now, the volunteer program, unfortunately, is kind of on hold again
That's
because
right.
of the new variant and
That's
so
right.
on and so forth. But as soon as it comes back up, and it looks like it's going to be within a month,
Okay.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
we'll be
yeah.
able to get dog walkers back, and you
Oh,
can go up
perfect.
and walk the dogs. And yeah, absolutely.
I
We're
thought
always
that was
looking
so
for
cool.
volunteers of some kind. So
Okay. And for the people who do want to volunteer, when allowed, how do they get in contact? Is
yeah,
that
they can either call in or they can actually go onto the website, and there's a volunteer click on the page and
Okay.
fill in the information. And when you sign up, we'll give you a phone call and say if we have something that month, we'll say that we need your help with this. And
Okay.
yeah.
Another interesting thing, like that, it's funny that I say I don't actually donate so much to the SPCA. I'm like, man, I actually donate a bunch. Was back in the day, there used to be, you could bring like your old shirts in or towels or something.
we still do that,
What
yeah.
was that? Like, I've done it, but like, what was that about? I never understood why I was doing it.
Yeah, so the towels and stuff are actually used for the animals. So we actually use the towels as beds or to wipe down the animals or to clean up the animals' cages or kennels, pardon me, or to that kind of thing. We actually use the towels for a lot of different reasons.
Okay.
Same with the blankets. We'll actually put them on top of the bedding so that when we take it off, it's just easier to clean. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it was incredible. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the reason why we get a lot of the donations, and we'll keep taking them.
So you're still needing those then?
Always,
Okay.
yeah.
So as far as like hot items, what would be one of the things that you would say the SPCA needs? and I know it could be more than one thing, but like that's why I say hot items. Like, what are, if you're at home watching this right now and you're like, hey, I want to help, what could that?
Yeah, there's multiple items. So, like, for instance, we take medication. So, like, a lot of people have their dogs no longer need their medication, or the cats. They bring their medications to us, and we can actually use those as long as they're within date.
Right.
And then also dog food, cat food, kitty litter, the usual stuff. Toys. We can also take donations of something that we can resell.
Okay.
So then we can actually take that profit and put it into our animals. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you're talking about like a car or a house, or what would be an item?
Absolutely.
That
We do have
bring?
cars. We actually have a donate your car. You can actually donate your car online.
Okay.
Very similar to a lot of the charities that are doing that now.
Right.
And all we do is you just click on the button. Somebody will come and get it, and then they'll give us the money, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's that
Okay.
easy. And then there's also people that have left us in their wills. That's another way to do it.
Okay.
So honestly, I didn't even think about that until it was about 2 months in, and somebody left us in their will. It was an amazing thought, and I'm like, I really need to do that for some of the charities that I support as well.
Yeah.
Besides the SPCA, so I actually did that for my will.
Neat.
Yeah.
So
there's
what
a
do you
lot
do?
of different
Explain
ways.
that to me. Like, what do you leave behind?
So you leave behind monetary gains, or you leave behind housing, or you leave behind whatever you want to leave behind. But
Right.
this person left behind monies for different organizations.
Oh,
Yeah, and we were
very
one of them.
cool.
It was pretty awesome and amazing that this person thought of us. So
Wow, that's neat.
yeah.
When it comes to animals, how did you get into animals? Is this something you grew up with, around you? Like, where did that passion come from?
I actually originated from Saskatchewan, so kind of grew up around farms. Very, very familiar with animals, but I just always loved them. Honestly, I've just always been a big fan. And honestly, this is going to sound ridiculous, but Steve Irwin was probably I was like his number one biggest fan.
Yeah.
That's probably the only guy that showed up at his movie and all by myself.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's probably how I really got into loving the animals. So
Okay.
yeah.
And so have you been, you love animals. You've had, I have to assume, cats, dogs,
Yeah.
everything. This might be the stupidest question ever. And I ask a lot of questions out. I'm like, I can't believe this is about to come out of my mouth. But at the SPCA, is it only dogs and cats, or are there other type of animals there as well?
So normally it is only dogs and cats. We normally only intake dogs and cats, but we have had anywhere from hamsters to bunnies to other animals as well.
Wasn't there a pig there once?
I don't know about that, honestly. There might have been.
I feel like
there could have been.
I feel like
Yeah.
a few years ago there might have been a pig.
Oh, cool. So look, it wasn't.
Hey,
dope.
there, and I know for a fact there is a pig in somebody's house around town roaming like a pet.
Yeah, there are pigs that are pets. So I can't remember
Locally.
what they're called, but they're smaller pigs,
Okay.
and they actually wander around as pets.
They're sold as smaller pigs, but they're still pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still
They
big.
They still get big, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so how do you guys get animals? How does that happen? I don't understand.
So a lot of different ways. For animal control, will bring us some animals that they find on the streets, or that are surrendered, or a lot of them will be surrendered to us. So like for instance, if somebody can't take care of their animal anymore for any particular reason,
Right.
I'm not going to mention any reasons
Yeah,
because there's a
yeah,
number
a
of
number.
different reasons.
For sure.
They'll bring their animals to us.
Okay.
And then there's also other ways that we take care of animals, like our Mom's Last Litter program, where we intake a mother who's had puppies, and the person can't really afford the puppies anymore, or to take care of the puppies.
Right.
So what we'll do is intake the mother and the puppies, and we'll make sure the mother is spayed, and then
Right.
do the same thing for the puppies, spay and neuter them.
Right.
We'll send back the mother,
Right.
and then we'll keep the puppies and adopt them out to people
Oh,
that are. So
nice.
we actually take care of them and take the full cost for that. So
Right.
yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, listen, Tanner gave me the signal. That means he's got his questions ready. So get ready for the Max City Minute. Tanner, hit him with the Max City Minute.
Alrighty, question number 1. What is it about animals and the SPCA that drove you to choose them as your first non-for-profit you work for?
Honestly, I was looking for different non-for-profits. There was 2 that I had applied for, and SPCA was the first one to come back to me, and I said, "Oh, that's a sign I got to do it. So that was pretty much it.
Very cool.
Question number 2. What has been the biggest surprise you've had in your time that you've worked with the SPCA?
Oh, there's been so many surprises. Just the commitment of the people that are working there is probably the biggest one. From anywhere from the kennel attendants to the care coordinators to just the finance person, they're all working quadruple jobs and not just the job titles that they have, and they all do it for a lower pay, but because they love the animals. So it's amazing.
Question number 3. What is your favorite part of working with a nonprofit within the community of Fort McMurray?
Probably watching the reaction from the Fort McMurray community itself. It's pretty awe-inspiring, honestly. Like when we threw out the Betty White Challenge, for instance, and raised over $11,000. Like it's just unheard of. Like this community is awesome. Last year we were struggling because we couldn't do any programs or couldn't do any events. So what we ended up doing was having to do a call out. That was just before I got there. And we ended up raising over $100,000 from the community. Like it's just unbelievable. Like the people in this community are amazing.
Question number 4. What is one service people might be surprised to find out the SPCA provides?
Probably our ASH program. So our ASH program is basically intakes some animals that where their families can no longer can't handle them. For instance, because they're going to get treatment, they are escaping from an abusive relationship, whatever the situation is. We'll take care of them for a month for them while they get resettled. So it's actually, once again, we're not just about the animals, we're also about the community itself. So.
And your final question, what is one thing you're most excited for on the upcoming calendar year working with the SPCA?
Honestly, I'm really excited about our events because we're doing a bunch of micro events this year, which is something that's really not heard of for the SPCA because we're basically breaking it down to 2 events a month, which is huge just because we need these small dollars donations to make up for these large dollar donations that we're missing. So
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those have been your 5 questions.
It's kind of crazy, and you get to see this in real life. You talked about the passion that people who work at non-for-profits have in regards to, like, prior to doing all of this, I used to work in oil and gas, and I was the HR manager for companies, and it's hard to get employees on board to do stuff sometimes, and you're paying them a large amount of money, and you're just like, hey, this is new policy, this is no procedure, this is safety, like whatever it may be, and it's a struggle. And then I've had the honor of like working with a lot of not-for-profits in town, and you start seeing, like you said, these employees who are there, and they're not getting paid much, but like you say, hey guys, this is what we're doing, and everybody's like, let's do it. And like, hey, I know you're already like doing 4 jobs, but I got another thing to ask. Okay, I'll do it. Like it's really awe-inspiring.
It really is, and honestly, most of the ideas that the SPCA has comes from its people, and that's another part that I'm really passionate about as well. Like the people have really pushed the narrative this year for smaller events, and I really ran with it, and it was because that's what they wanted to do, and so they took on all of these extra duties just to get these smaller events done. So it's cool. You're right. It's amazing.
Yeah. Listen, my man, we're at the end of the show though. But I know time flies. I have a bunch more questions, and hopefully, please come back again and again. Leading up to any events that you have, come back on the show. We'd love to have you back. If there's other people that work at the SPCA that you feel would be good spokespeople as well, please tell them to like, hey, it's not that hard. It's a conversation. But before I cut you loose, everybody gets a shameless shout out or plug. So the lights are on, the mics are on, the cameras are on you. Have fun.
Excellent. Yeah, I just want everyone to really look at our events calendar this year. We have a lot of sponsorships available, and coming up right away is our Fort McMurray Locked in the Kennel event, and we're still looking for people that are willing to be locked in the kennel or that want to sponsor the event. So please come out or email me at ed@fortmcmurrayspca.ca. Thank you.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, that's been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. It really does mean the world to me. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.